Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark TV. You guys know who I am. I'm Dr. Angela Butts-Chester, and you know what I'd like to do on my show. Say it with me. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on a fire. And that's what we want to do today. We want to get you fired up about my guest. I'll be spending time today with Sung-hee Kwon, and we'll be talking about her book, Can Macron Offer Biden the Restoration of Women's Abortion Rights? So go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea, because we are about to get started. Hello, hello, Sung-hee. Thank you so much
Hello.
for spending time with me here today. I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you are here. Now, on our show, but we have a little bit of a tradition, and that is we know that some of our viewers may be unfamiliar with you or with your work. So my first question is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What makes you you?
Um, I okay, so these 3 years, I introduced myself to my friends. I am an advocate as a Jesus representative. That's very weird, but okay, so I listened Jesus voice for 43 years. And I knew that, I was sent by Jesus to say, to women's, their abortion rights is Jesus granted. I'm sorry, my English is not enough. I've never. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That is okay. We will be patient with you. Don't worry.
Mm.
Now, the title of your book, how did you come about the title of your book?
Okay, so I work as a divorce lawyer. People, okay, so I studied, about biology about 8 years ago, and for 5 years, I've read 400 biology books, and I found that Darwinism is wrong and Lamarckism is right. So also I remember, year 2022, President Macron state visit America. I mean, President Biden. There, because this Lamarck is a French, I wanted to President Macron bring this Lamarckism to America. So within this Lamarckism, God and religion and abortion and feminism and LGBTQ people are all in one side, So at the early 2022, American women lost their abortion rights. So with the with this Lamarckism paradigm, their abortion is only very natural, very, yeah. So I want President Macron this news to America. So that's why I chose this title. Yeah, but But I failed. So I approached it to the newspapers. I wanted to be interviewed. I also failed. But anyway, this title started that instant, and I'm still now working on it. So this year, February, I published this book in America. So I worked, until now every day, very hard. So now I arrive here, your show today here.
Well, we are very, very happy to have you. And thank you so much for spending time with us here today. We are always honored to have our international authors on the show. So thank you for that. Now, when it comes to writing this book, many authors will say the idea was powerful. It slapped me. It was on my heart. I had to write this book. Did you have a similar feeling or nudge, prompt to write this book? Did you feel as though you had to share this message with the world?
Actually, okay, so when I studied biology, my impression about Darwinism is totally wrong, you know. I don't know why, even until now, the world famous biologists say Darwinism is right. But 8 years ago, in my eyesight, the Darwinism is very, very wrong. But even though, you know, I'm an amateur, you know, the learning is, you know, my learning. I should understand well, right? So I started to study, you know, one by one, you know, on my 400 book produced, you know, some book I read, you know, 30 times, 6 times, you know, and then I found somewhere, you know, the origin of male and female. So this Darwinism, you know, until now, the world does not know about the origin of male and female. But okay, a species, you know, their member is male and female. Without knowing origin of male, female, how species are originated, they can never understand. But I found it. And then after that, you know, I knew this Darwinism is totally wrong. And this Lamarckism is very, very right. But Lamarckism until now was not proven or verified. That is because, you know, they did okay, Lamarckism say male and female evolve simultaneously. But what I found is the survival first and reproduction later, the order. So my theory, what I found is inevitably together with Lamarckism. So male and female simultaneously evolve through the use and disuse of organs. But the order is survival first, reproduction later. That's a new theory, but I name it Lamarckism. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah. Okay, and then this Lamarckism, you know, until now Darwinians say, you know, there's no exist God or religion is totally wrong, right? But this Lamarckism, God and religion are science, and feminism science, abortion science, LGBTQ science. Every phenomenon appears has adaptational profit or value. Yeah, that's what I found. So I wanted to share it, but I'm an amateur. It was very, very almost impossible to be very verified. I don't know. Anyway, that's why I'm here.
And thank you for that explanation. I love how you have done research and you have used logic to say 1 + 1 = 2. 1 + 1 does not equal 3. So I'm following your train of thought there. Now, let me ask you about the reader of your book. I try to ask this question of everyone. Do you think that your book is appropriate for someone as young as a high schooler, perhaps 16, 17 years old? Or is college age or older a little bit better to have more life experience to be able to follow along?
I think, you know, in every ages, you know, from young student to older people, everybody, because, you know, scientific discovery is difficult, but somebody discover, you know, this discovery is scientific or not is very easy to find or to check, to verify. So there's an endosymbiotic theory, okay? So bacteria came first, and then prokaryotes and evolved later. This prokaryote is bacteria together. Okay, so they from that it's endosymbiotic story. From that, the prokaryote appeared, and then multicellular organisms, that prokaryotes got only multicellularity factors. So then, we can see this prokaryote, two bacteria, and multicellular, okay, prokaryote essence is bacteria. Okay, so multicellular also, even though they are multicellular, still they are bacteria. Okay, in Earth, all creatures are, in essence, I don't know. I understand that this idea is very weird, but in essence, they are bacteria. So the bacteria's life cycle, inherited, okay, only adapted the prokaryote, okay, a nucleus is there, and multicellular organisms, even though they are multicellular, but each cell has the nuclear. I think, it's very easy to verify.
Okay. I believe I understand what you're saying, that when we get down to our biological, when we get down to the smallest of what we are, then that's where we find that similarity. Yes, I'm following you. It is the science that makes it make sense. I understand. Thank you for that. Now, I feel that authors present their work, their book, in a way in which is easy for the reader to understand, meaning they will put section 1 before section 2, chapter 1 before chapter 2. But many people like to open up a book and start anywhere. What is the best way to read your book? Should we start with page 1 and read through the end, or can we pick it up and start anywhere?
Okay, so the title, came from the interview that I wanted to get from newspapers, but I failed, right? So normally interviews are, reporters ask questions, and the answer, okay, the interviewee gives their answer, right? So my book is, okay, first, question and my answer, like that. So I think it is kind of easy. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I
from
like
the beginning
that.
to the later. And then I can add is, okay, the first 60 part is biology, and the other 40 part is religion. But based on this Lamarckism, the religion and God are totally very, very scientific. So the science and the religion are finally integrated. Yeah, I can say, I want to say so.
I like how you've put that together, and it makes sense to start with page 1 and read through to the last page. If you start anywhere, you miss what was presented in the beginning. And just like with science, it's built upon layer upon layer.
Right.
So I love that you have done that. Well, it is time for us to take a very short break. So, viewers, I'm so sorry, viewers, don't you guys go anywhere. Of course, this book is available on Amazon or wherever books are sold, but we need to take a very short break. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark TV. How do you address the end times or the signs that we're starting to see in the world today?
Yeah, actually, okay, I told you I hear Jesus' voice for 43 years, right? So what Jesus told to me is he successfully came back last Friday, August 2nd. Actually, okay, so have you seen the letter from Jesus to President Macron? Okay, actually it was ad, my book ad, but that ad include, very long letter, Jesus letter. I finally I'm back, my friend Macron. It's the title, but it's like almost 10 pages. But I wrote it actually, but I I say, every single word was revealed by Jesus. And then, okay, this was originally, sent to France to President Macron, June 20th. And then this book and then came to America, and July 26th, LA region, USA Today ad, there was there, and August 2nd, and there was there. And, this Jesus, now wants these Christians make peace with the whole world. And Jesus also know this is like Noah times, because of the climate crisis, it's very like a flood is near, right? So, and, Jesus said when he was going to Golgotha hill to be crucified, he said to weeping Jerusalem women, okay, women, stop crying for me, cry for yourself, days will surely will come. Blessed are the barren woman, blessed are whom they have never pregnant and breast they never nursed. And also, the end times, okay, from Gospel Matthew, Mark, every Gospel, you can see the end times with the birth pain. And also he said how dreadful it'll be a pregnant woman and nursing mothers, right? And then also from Revelation, this year, like April 4th, there was a total eclipse and 1,000 trillion, cicadas, but periodical cicadas is called, periodical locust. And also the meteor, like Portugal and Spain and May, and meteor shower. And, also the solar storm aurora spectacles all over the world. If you read the Revelation, you can see those verses. And then Jesus also, promised, and after he successfully came back as a celebrating, he will give us a morning star. Scientists say before this September, T Corona Borealis new star will explode. Yeah, that's what I can say. So surely it's now is the end times. Surely, and Jesus also, he's very happy to say to the world, he successfully came back through this letter. And Jesus say why he chose Macron, his friend. Okay, we read the Isaiah, the Jehovah God say Abraham is his friend. And this Jesus say he chose this President Macron. He has never seen a person who loves the truth as much as he does, So he chose this Macron, and he wanted to give this good news to the world with the form of a letter to President Macron. Yeah. So because the USA Today ad is very near, when you try to find it, you can find it easily. And then, okay, Jesus said why he chose me, the Eastern amateur woman. He said that, okay, he was born in manger. He is a very countryside, Nazareth. And when he went to Jerusalem, he wrote a quote, right? So I'm like that. He says, so to the world, I'm just kind of nobody, Yeah, that's what.
Oh, I love how you make that so available to everyone, that it wasn't that Jesus was born in a mansion or a castle, or he wasn't born in a very expensive city. I love how you're saying that everything was just normal, just kind of basic, and that so many people live normal lives, not very high or fancy lives, but just normal lives. And that's exactly how Jesus comes into the world. I love that. I love that. Now,
Thank you.
another thing that you talk about in your book, and I'm going to look down because I want to make sure that I get them all, is that you talk about abortion rights, our religious freedoms, our LGBTQ rights, as well as just basic fundamental rights of every human being. When you speak about that, I know that here in the States, we try to say it in a way where everyone should be afforded or given basic human rights. I assume that it is like that around the world. I'm sure our South Korean brothers and sisters agree with that. Everyone should have basic rights. So, how do you address that in your book?
Okay, so these, sapient species live by language, right? So the language, gives kind of theory. So like, for example, if I don't understand English, we cannot communicate. And then also, if I don't understand mathematics, I cannot, talk with mathematician. And exactly same, like, okay, so this Christians say their word, and this scientists say, Darwinism is right. There's no between, right? But what I found is this Lamarckism is, how I can say, though it is kind of word, no, it's paradigm we have known before. This within this paradigm, God, religion, Christians, scientists, we can talk each other very like we are one country people. Okay, so Darwinism is like a survival competition. The fittest succeed, right? But this Lamarckism is every species have their ecological niches. That means we avoid competition, very peacefully exist together. This world is like that. And I told you before, yeah, we all, every creatures that basically in essence bacteria, right? So okay, for example, these sapiences are also like them together, but what the difference is, okay, we evolved the language, but without the language, we are still, like animals, but with this help of this language, we can differentiate good and evil, but the fact that we can speak by language does not necessarily mean we are perfect like God. If we are God, we don't need God, So the original sin is, even though we distinguished good and evil through the language, but still we are animals. We are not perfect. So that's why we need God, And okay, so people use language means, we need understanding inside our brain. So there's a outside world, the real world, but we live on language means we have special kind of house built by language inside. But now, the language is too developed, too advanced. We cannot, like we just, novel is look like, not based on reality. But we should understand, the language started older days, like every naming to things, So I can say, okay, so there's a very famous scientist, Thomas Kuhn, he wrote the book, The Structure of Scientific Revolution. He said that in one scientific paradigm, we cannot get a scientific theory politically and scientifically. That means, the theory is wrong, okay? So, okay, so now, Christians, they say this Darwinism wrong, right? But still, they use this Darwinian word a lot, like chromosomes, X, 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 Y, So when we kind of persecute LGBTQ people, still these Christians, use their scientific term, and okay, if the science is, very basic, now, science is very developed, right? So if science is totally right, okay, like, for example, Christian, I cannot imagine, or people worship God in any reason, persecute other weak people. I can never understand. So,
Oh, I
yeah,
think
so,
I understand, or I think I understand what you're saying here is that if Christians are saying that this particular group over here is wrong because they do A, B, and C, then Christians need to be kind and loving, and they need to understand that they too cannot do 1, 2, and 3. Just because they call it A, B, and C, wrong is wrong and right is right. So if we look at the basics and understand and do the basic things, then all peoples can get along at the same time and still be able to be themselves, but still be able to come together and worship God. That is so beautiful. I love that. I love that. That is so true, because we should be able to get along with other people just because they appear different, sound different, live someplace different, whatever. We are still the created of God. And because of that, we should love one another as best we can.
Right.
I love it. I love it. Well, I tell you, we are out of time, but Sung-hee, you have written something that really is giving us something to think about. Let's be our best self. Let's be good people while we are here on this earth. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing that with us. Now, I do want to ask you, if someone wants to get in touch with you, do you have a website? Are you on social media? What's the best way to reach out to you if someone wants to contact you?
I think, I will tell the American publisher, anybody reach them, give my phone number or email address. I will ask them. And then now, can I add one thing about the Jesus or God?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. One God was, this idea was introduced by Abraham. He left his hometown with God. Without God, how dare he could live, his country, and outside he can, survive well, right? And that's very beautiful. And after that, the Moses, he saved, he his people from slavery, right? And then, okay, from that time on, like almost 10,000 years later, this Jesus showed up. This Jesus showed up is, I think, very big size and powerful and wide empire, like Roman Empire started. So, but at the time, the human rights, human rights, the idea of human rights is even did not exist, right? So this Jesus wanted to give very powerful, like, okay, we are a child of God, Almighty God. So Jesus gave that idea to us. It's very, very beautiful. And I think it's after the French Great Revolution, we get the human rights, right? But why did Jesus, promised he will be back? I think this is just really miracle. Jesus, how Jesus predicted, those days. Jesus said why he should be back is to save the final week is women. Because, they have womb, they get pregnant, they give birth, they have to rear child. That is, only with that, the fact gives idea people, maybe women are inferior than men. Totally wrong. Without that, same, exactly same with men. And these LGBTQ people, they have, reasons they appeared, right? So, but people, the whole world, they don't treat them well, right? So this Jesus finally should came back means he should save the last weak women, abortion, LGBTQ, feminism. Yeah, I think, this Jesus is just a miracle. Every day I pray, I just kind of, cry.
It is beautiful. It is a beautiful thing when we think about it. Women have just as much a place here in the world as our men do. You are so right there. Well, Sung-hee, thank you again for being a guest on the show today. And I'm so sorry we are out of time, but thank you again for being a guest. And I appreciate your being here and continued successes, of course, with this book and the work that you're doing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Such an honor, to be here.
Thank you. And
Okay, thank you. Okay.
And viewers, thank you for spending time with us here today as well. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to spend it with us, and I thank you for doing so. As always, may the Lord continue to shine his face upon you. May you receive his grace and his mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone.